Okay, I wanted to show you guys one demo of an extended drawing, like working on value and things like that. And so I picked this one pose here because I thought it would be good for shading and things like that. It's like some subtle shifts in tonal range. And they're wearing, I can't tell if they're wearing a bird mask or like one of the old polio masks. But anyway, I'm gonna start it. I mean, you guys can watch me do the quick gesture and things like that. And then and what I'll do is I'll pause it and I'll work on it, and then I'll come back to it once I've gotten some of the areas addressed with value and show it to you. That way I can kind of talk about it. But it's not going to be a whole lot different than how we've addressed value patterns in the past with our other projects. It's just going to be finding the complexity of your value patterns. So it's not going to be a huge difference sort of compared to our other projects in class. So yeah, so there's my quick gesture, if you can see that. It's very light. I tend to gesture very lightly, just so that I'm not obliterating the paper before I lay down anything of substance. So I'm going to work on it some more, and then I'll drop back in once I've got some more laid down. So I'm about 10 minutes into my drawing. I have refined the gesture a little bit more, kind of worked on the shape a little bit more. Again, I haven't really refined the shape of the hands too much yet, but just sort of the exterior geometry. And then again, here is the source image again. So yeah, I'm going to start in on a little bit of value and I'll check back in. So I've just started working on some of the values, but I thought I could let you guys watch me doing this and kind of talk you through what I was thinking about. So right now I'm working additively. So I'm applying value, and I'm not just looking at the value that I'm applying. I'm noticing this negative space right here. And so I am not only applying the value in this space, but I am not applying it to the negative space surrounding it. And as I am approaching to the next area, I'm noticing the value is changing and it's getting darker. So I'm going to start darkening that value. Okay. In addition to this, I'm looking at the shape of the value that I'm applying and the direction of the value that I'm applying. Okay. So again, not just the value itself, the positive, but I'm also looking at the negative. My eyes are not just looking at the paper. I'm looking back and forth between my paper and the source image. I'm kind of working with a directional mark at this point, and partly it's because of the folds of the fabric. And so as I'm applying this, I'm paying attention to how the value is changing, and it's getting lighter as it approaches the arm, but it's still darker than the highlight over here on the right side of the torso. Okay, so what I can go ahead and do is fill in a little bit of value all the way up to the edge of the arm. That's a highlight still, but not as bright as the highlight on the right side of the torso. Again, starting to find relationships to increase the complexity of value patterns. And I can go ahead and fill all this in, because I got to keep in mind, this little area right through here, this is not a highlight, this is reflected light. Okay, so I can go through here and I can darken up my shadow a little bit and pull that out a little bit towards that reflected light, just slightly. And I'm looking at the shadow along the edge of the arm there. It's not a line, it's value. It comes up out from the crevice of the arm. And again, my eyes are moving back and forth. You guys can't see my head right now. You might be able to hear my earrings clanging from my head moving. A little bit of a fold of the fabric here. So I'm not trying, I'm actually, you know, I'm kind of working sections of the drawing. I'm kind of working on this big section right here, and then I'm going to work to the next section of the drawing. Trying to look at the complexity of my value patterns through here. And I'll show you that source image again here in a moment. I also need to keep in mind that this is white fabric. Stepping back from my drawing, making sure that I'm periodically getting some distance. I wanted to pop back in and showed you guys what I've been working on for probably about the past 10 minutes. I realized when I was demoing this area for you guys that I kind of did what I tell you guys not to do, because I tell you guys I do it too, is I started in on doing details. I was like, oh, let me just work on this area right here. And so that's why it's good for me to do these sorts of things. And I tell you, like I said, like I say in class, like, you know, I tell you guys, like, I do this too. So this is a really good example. I started out by like just working on this area, and then I stopped and I was like, oh my God, I need to put value everywhere. So I worked around, I forced myself just in the past 10 minutes to put value over the entire drawing. Now I'm 25, almost, I'm actually about 30 minutes into this drawing. I've got another 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to get some value worked into the head. Try to do with the hand situation. My hands are like really sad, but I'm also like, this website, I can't zoom in on the photo at all, so it makes it really hard. So I'm going to try to just focus on the value of the face, and I might just leave the hands to the wayside and just focus on the external geometry of the hands. And for your all's 45-minute to hour-long drawings, you know, just get as much value done as you can. They don't necessarily have to be finished, but they, in terms of value, but they do need to look like the drawings are finished. So like right now, the way the head looks, the drawing doesn't look finished, so I need to kind of finalize the head. It needs to feel like a balanced drawing. So like if parts of the drawing is not addressed whatsoever, it's not going to feel like a balanced drawing. So like if I had only done value on this drawing and then slowly worked piece by piece around the drawing. And then an hour later, let's say I only worked here down and then did nothing below the torso, then it's not really going to be considered a finished drawing or a well-balanced drawing. So that's why I forced myself around the rest of the drawing. So I've got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to work on the face, and then I'm going to try to work around the rest of the drawing as much as I can for the last little bit. Okay, so I'm right at the 45-minute mark. I decided to take some time to fix the hands because the hands were looking pretty sad. And I also wanted to show you guys, one thing I'll do when I'm working on value drawings is I will put value behind the figure, like next to the figure, to hide my lines. And so here is my 45-minute drawing. And you can see there's still parts of it that remain slightly gestural, like parts of the hands and things like that. But for the most part, the value is laid down on the surface. And again, you can tell where I spent more time on it. Like I said, that area where I started out, I spent more time on the head area as well. And so if I wanted to, I could probably go back into parts of like the legs at the bottoms if I wanted to. But this is sufficient for 45 minutes of work. It's still got, if you look here, even though this is pretty rough, you can see the highlight. There's midtone, and then there's still reflected light as well. So just remember to try to work the surface of the drawing evenly, so that it's not just like one part of the drawing is 100% rendered and then the rest of the drawing is still gestural. So you want to try to work, like I said, I found that my impulse was to let me completely finish this one little area right here. And so you want to fight that urge and try to work around the entire drawing. So here's the drawing, and then here is that source image again. So it's a little washed out in the image that you're seeing right now because it's on the computer screen. So that's it.